As 1933 draws to a close, Canada is in the throes of the Great Depression. R.B. Bennett is Prime Minister. The United States has just repealed Prohibition. Construction of the Golden Gate Bridge begins. A brand new Plymouth 6 starts for $445. That's less than the minimum annual salary for hotel kitchen help, but a good deal more than a lot of Saskatchewan teachers make. Average salaries of less than $500 are commonplace, and many teachers teach for as little as $200 a year.
My salary is $538 in arrears. The secretary only paid me what he pleased. Many months, the 12-year-old girl who was janitor and fire builder received a check as big as mine. At my present school, the equipment is poor, but we make the best of it. There are 34 pupils crowded into one small schoolroom. Ada Blanche Cook, teacher of Redmond School Division, number 945.
The 30s are tough times for teachers, and tough times for Saskatchewan's 3 teacher organizations. In October 1933, the Saskatchewan Teachers Alliance, the Rural Teachers Association, and the Saskatchewan Education Association start talking about amalgamation. And in December of 1933, the Saskatchewan Teachers Federation comes into being. The new organization has lots on its plate and makes lots of progress. In 1935, intense lobbying leads to passage of the first legislation in the English-speaking world to formally recognize teaching as a profession. Within 18 years, every province in Canada will adopt similar legislation. This is the first of many times that the STF and Saskatchewan will be at the forefront of significant changes to teaching and education. It won't be the last.
Throughout the 1940s and 50s, the STF fights to see teachers acknowledged as professionals and to ensure they are treated and paid accordingly. By 1940, years of poverty, helplessness, and neglect have driven many from the profession and leave many of those who remain feeling beaten down and hopeless. For the STF, rebuilding teacher morale is a vital first task.
Teachers had just become completely demoralized. You have no concept how demoralized they were. I think maybe the best work we ever did was to give them back their self-respect. Gib Emer, STF General Secretary.
Legislation is passed in 1940 that provides a minimum $750 annual salary. But with over 5,000 school districts in the province, it is virtually impossible to enforce. Creating the larger school units, which will be economically viable, able to support appropriate salaries for teachers and, most importantly, provide better education becomes an STF priority that goes far deeper than dollars and cents. Establishing larger districts, then as now, is not always popular.
The ratepayers were so afraid the country schools were going to be taken away from them, and at the same time, they wanted their children to get the best education possible. And as soon as they saw what could be done as a result of the larger unit of administration, how the children could be taken to larger schools, brought into contact with other students, that they were going to enlarge their education, well, the battle was over. Ray Wiley, STF President.
The promise of better education wins out, and the Larger School Units Act is passed in 1944. The number of school boards drops from over 5,000 to 120. This realistic and manageable number of boards makes collective bargaining a real possibility. But salaries are not the only area where the STF is making progress. In 1948, teachers take responsibility for their own professional conduct. And in 1952, the Teacher Tenure Act gives teachers access to due process in termination disputes.
The 1960s and 70s, a time of change and activism in society at large, and in education, growing interest among teachers in professional development, and a growing catalog of professional development opportunities provided by the Federation are a hallmark of this era.
The 60s were a time of a lot of innovations and a lot of developments. We moved into things like accreditation of teachers, the new sciences, and new approaches to teaching. We were in a growth period and lots of things were possible. Ruben Reichert, STF Executive Assistant.
What is possible and what takes place is a tremendous upsurge of professional development activities in the Federation, culminating in the establishment of the Professional Development Committee in 1965.
The Federation staff was only 5 in the late 1950s. By 1966, there were 11 on the administrative staff, and maybe half of their time was devoted to professional development. Sterling McDowell, STF General Secretary.
The impact of social changes and empowerment also makes its way into education and the teaching profession. Unlike many professional organizations, the STF moves to understand and adapt to the times through proactive innovations like the Advisory Committee on Women in Education, another first among teacher organizations in Canada. The late 1970s and early 80s also see fundamental changes in the way teacher salaries and working conditions are bargained. The 1973 Teacher Collective Bargaining Act establishes the bi-level bargaining that's still conducted today. The world is certainly different from 1938, when demands for a $700 minimum annual teacher salary prompted an outraged response from a reader of the school trustee.
Just imagine our young lady teachers rolling in money like that. What a boom there would be in the trade in silk stockings, fur coats, and pink nail polish. And wouldn't the normal schools be flooded? But there is another side of it. When these girls get married in a few years, what a life they would lead their husbands if they can't keep them in the style they are accustomed to.
Teachers and the profession have come a long way, but there are more changes in the wind.
While salaries and working conditions are major concerns in the 80s and 90s, and will undoubtedly still be major concerns at the end of the 21st century, some very significant achievements do not happen at the bargaining table. The Federation moves into new areas to support teacher welfare, influence education, and enhance the teaching profession. The 1984 Curriculum and Instruction Review sees teachers working in collaboration with others in a comprehensive provincial review to develop and implement a child-centered, holistic, and adaptive vision of K-12 education. STF contributions ultimately lead to the creation of the Saskatchewan Professional Development Unit and the McDowell Foundation. The Curriculum Review has a major impact on education that still echoes through the system today. Building on experience administering complex benefit plans like Porta-Plan and the Income Continuance Plan, the STF plays the role of national pioneer yet again with the formation of the Saskatchewan Teachers Retirement Plan in 1991. In 2000, a comprehensive healthcare plan adds yet another dimension to the Federation's responsibility for teacher benefits. The 2001 Governance Review, which led to the Teachers Federation Act 2006, refine and restate the STF mandate and reinforces the professional status of teachers in Saskatchewan.
The STF has a proud history of finding new ways to do things. We work constantly on making sure that the public is aware of the importance of teaching as a profession, and most important of all, of learning for our children and youth. Diane Walaschuk, STF President.
And tomorrow, the journey continues.
The men and women who banded together in 1933 to form the professional organization that has fought for and protected teacher rights for 75 years could hardly have imagined the world we live in today, just as we can't envision the world years from now. But through it all, there has been one constant: the real reason teachers are teachers.
The teachers are not, never were, and never will be the primary consideration in a school. The pupils are the center of interest, and it's their rights and advantages which must be considered. STF Editorial, 1945.
Put me on the path, tell me how to live and laugh.
The Federation consists of people in the schools, at the local association level and at the provincial level, who have a strong commitment to their province, and they will assure that the Saskatchewan Teachers Federation will continue to be a powerful advocate for a high-quality professional life for teachers and for high-quality education for young people. Mel Lofstrom, STF General Secretary.